So just a quick, we're going to talk more about what is 1111 and this portal. I'm going to say a little bit more, well, a lot more later, but just a little preview to prep us for this meditation. So the 1111 portal talks about spiritual awakening and like the call. It's really, the main thing is like answering the call, hearing the call and answering the call. What I would like us to see in the meditation is what is the specific frequency of the call for you? I'm seeing the 1111, and we just had some rain here in Israel, is like this, you know, how a raindrop kind of looks like a one, you know? So it's like these downloads coming from the sky if we're open to receive them. Okay. And I really, my intention for this meditation is that you come out of this, not just with a beautiful activating meditation, but also the idea is that you leave the meditation with a little tool, and that would be, like a filter, I would call it, some sort of filter where you can see life from just a different perspective or angle or frequency. And that would be like the new filter, the new frequency that you are being asked to bring here into this reality, because part of the wake-up call is to wake up to what your soul has wanted and been asked and signed off on doing here on this earth, which is a bigger mission. And for that, you get tools and you get your own unique frequency. So although this call is something that everybody's open for, not everybody answers that call. And even, or not everybody hears it. And even the ones that hear it don't necessarily answer the call. They don't necessarily answer back. But everybody has the opportunity. And when they do, it's not like, oh, I did, so, you know, tag your it, someone else can do it for me. Like each and every one of us is holding a very specific frequency that we're here to broadcast into the world and assist. So that's the idea of the meditation. And again, we'll talk more about 1111 and signs from spirit later. So to prepare for this meditation, what I'm inviting you to do is if you need to run to the bathroom for some reason, I mean, if you need to, you're gonna do it now. Don't worry, there's like a little bit of setup, so you can do that. You can make sure you're comfortable, either sitting really comfortably or even laying down for this part is great. And all you need to do is just make sure that you can hear me well. Yeah, that's all you need. If you have a candle and you would like to use it and you haven't lit it up yet, you can light it up. All right, so again, we're gonna close our eyes. Take a big inhale, exhale out through our mouths. And again, we're going to take a deep inhale. And exhale. And I'm inviting you to slowly, every time you exhale, you're going to invite your system to connect with your root, first of all. Connect to your root chakra, to connect with your feet maybe, okay, to the ground. And as you exhale, you're going to invite those tiny little roots that you have at the base of your spine, at the bottom of your feet, to start sending out these shoots. Start bringing those roots all the way down. Start bringing them all the way down, cross the floor if you're at the floor, passing the buildings, any cement, passing through all the infrastructure, finding its way all the way down and down through the bedrock, through the crystal belt at the center of this planet. And we're going to go all the way to what is called the iron core. And you're going to connect yourself with that iron core at the center of our planet. And you're going to send your roots to hold on to that iron core. This keeps you grounded wherever you are on this planet. And this is also a very powerful tool to cleanse So you're going to do a deep inhale and exhale, asking for this iron core to be like a magnet that is pulling all the residue, all the excess, all the old roots that no longer work, they're no longer necessary. And it's going to take it all into the iron core. So you're giving it a gift. And in the next inhale, you're going to start bringing up that strong feeling of security, of essence, of the core, of the iron core of this planet, and start sipping it up through your roots. You can even make these swallowing motions, really sipping it and allowing that energy to start coming up and up, all the way up into your field. And allow this energy to go all the way up to your heart chakra. Here it starts swirling around, and you're looking for that opening in the heart chakra. Wherever you have this opening, it's a little crack. We're going to talk about this crack later. And through this crack, where there's a little bit of light coming through, we're going to push again with the exhale, the energy as it goes up through the throat, through the third eye, through the crown, and it will shoot up through the 8th star chakra, and it would send this light beam all the way up, first into our sun, and then crossing our sun into the center of this universe, the heart, the beating heart, the cosmic heart of this universe. You're connecting your heart to the cosmic heart with this ray of light. And as you're in there, completely losing that self and just melding into this cosmic heart, you're going to feel the passion, the need of this cosmic heart to connect to your heart and all the hearts on the planet. And this need start pushing the energy, and it start going down through that same channel that you've created through the crack in your heart, and it starts pouring down like the rain of stars. Beautiful star showers raining down, and now you're seeing these lines of one of light starting to come down, and they're gonna cross our atmosphere, and they're going to meet with our clouds, and they're going to collect themselves inside of those clouds. More and more and more, you are those clouds now. You're feeling how all these lights are starting to meld and form within these clouds that are getting heavier and heavier, and they have so much information to share. And slowly, as they get heavier and heavier, all of a sudden there's a crack in the cloud, and rain starts pouring down in light speed, pouring down and down and down all the way to the earth. And they're going to water this ground, and the ground is going to drink this water up and connect with a seed. Now this is your seed. This is your seed of a plant, of a flower, okay? And it's drinking these waters. And I want you to concentrate now and think, what is this mission of this seed? What does this seed want? It wants it so bad that it's going to go to the extreme and crack again and start climbing up through the bedrock, through the earth, through the crack in the ground, and start growing and growing. And a flower starts blooming. Notice what is the color of this flower for you, and what is the essence of this flower for you. And you're going to pick this flower and look at it. Look at the center of this flower. Within it, a piece that is ready to be with you again. They want to come in, and you're going to take this piece with your hand. You can even, with the hand motion, pick it up from the flower, with the frequency, with the color of it, and start working with it with your hands, forming a ball of light. And this will be your gift. This is the transmission this year for the 1111 portal for you. And you're going to take it and put it on top of the head. And then move it into the third eye and through the throat and bring it into your heart center, pressing your hands into the heart center. And it's going to come up as a question because a mission has a question there. So it's a question mark that's coming up for you to reveal, to explore. What is this question? What is the burning question that is coming up for you? And as you bring this question up, notice if there's already some answers. Maybe there's some helpers, some guides that would like to answer that. And slowly, I'm inviting you to connect to that question and even start with the answer. And if you have a notebook and a pen, slowly bringing your hand down, taking another inhale and exhale and bringing yourself back into the body now, noticing any changes, noticing what you're feeling in your body and the message that is coming through. If you can write it down. And you can also write it in the chat if you would like. You can share it with the chat. The idea of this 1111 transmission is focusing. It's an invitation to focus on what matters for you most. It's very individual and unique. What is your focus? What is your question? And also, what is that color, that frequency? That will be that filter. And you're going to learn more about these colors. This is a part of your mission, of your unique gift into this world. We're going to start talking about what is 1111. But before, actually, I'm going to bring up the slide. I wanted to put this in context, and even the little hymn that I shared with you now, this is coming from the Lakota tribes of North America, who also talk about this prophecy. It's called the rainbow prophecy or the eagle and condor prophecy that really connects with this idea of spiritual awakening overall of planet Earth, which is really what we're here to discuss. So I wanted to remind you or share or let you know about this prophecy first because it's a very in tune and I would like you to think about it as we go along. The prophecy of the eagle and condor is very simple. What it says is that when the eagle of the north and the condor of the south fly together, humanity will awaken. This is a very old prophecy. Some people thought what it means is that we have to, literally maybe see an eagle and condor flying together. Or another example is this exchange of north and south, for example, or east and west, where we're sharing and giving from each other, which is also very accurate. But specifically, what they mean about the eagle and the condor is that the eagle is seen as the head, okay, the mind. The condor is the heart. When the eagle and condor fly together, humanity will awaken, which means that when the mind and the heart connect and work together, right? Then humanity will awaken. And that's exactly what the idea of the 11:11 wake-up call is about. The wake-up call of the mind to remember the heart, to go back to the heart. Remember that actually the heart is the driver. Okay. The mind is here to be the co-pilot and give some advice and protection, but the heart is the one that can expand and expand into different and multiple dimensions. That's why in the beginning, in the meditation, we connected with the heart to go into those higher spheres, these higher levels. Make sense? So really, it's an opening of the heart. And that's why a lot of times when also we talk about spiritual awakening, there's a lot of talk about self-love, right? Where the first step is really to find out where you do not love yourself. Where do you make yourself small? Where have you given up on yourself or ashamed of yourself? And clear that up so you can really love yourself. Because without loving the self, how can you bring that unique light? Okay. But again, that love is another reminder of how the heart is really what we're working with in that crack of the heart. So actually, when they say, a broken heart is a heart that is beating, that is working. So even that crack, and a lot of times in a spiritual awakening, we go through a crack or a crisis, right? So again, welcome to the 11:11 and the soul's awakening journey. So what I want to bring up is, first of all, what is this 11:11 gateway, right? So we said, when you see, so first, a lot of you that joined had to, like, you told me, like, I see these numbers all over the place, okay? So numbers, shapes, colors, names are frequencies that actually spirit, and the unseen realm uses to communicate with us because it is the language of the universe, zeros and ones. And so the numbers mean something, the repetition means something as well. And specifically, number one in numerology is beginning. Okay. So it's that beginning of a spiritual awakening. And if you see a lot of 111, it means wake up, wake up. There are different numbers. And I also mentioned this as I was advertising for this, right? Of like 222 and 33. But all of those are a bit different. They're also messages from spirit, but a bit different. For example, 2 is talking about balance. Okay, 3 is talking about magic. 5 is about change. So it's like a little bit more specific. But when you see the 111 or 11:11, okay, that means wake up. Wake up because your own spirit, okay? So your higher self, this is not like overall God Almighty. This is your essence that is in the upper realms, that is ready to awaken within a human body, is saying, hey, wake up, okay? So that's the idea, and reminding you that you have forgotten your true essence, okay? So it's that sign. And I love how without learning it at all, like people just notice it. It's just somehow, I think, just in our DNA. Okay. So what is this wake-up call? Okay. The wake-up call is connecting. I'm going to use Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung's theories with hero's journey, okay, to understand the wake-up call better. In the hero's journey, they talk about this place where all of a sudden life is great. It's all going fine. And all of a sudden it's not. It's just there's something that is pulling us out of our reality, sometimes by force, and is calling us, it's called the call for the adventure. Okay, we just have to get out. I actually, I'm Jewish and I'm here in Israel, so it actually is so fitting. I love how the 11/11 and everything is fitting, for example, with this month, right, of Cheshvan. And in this month that is talking about, like, for example, we have the parasha of Lech Lecha. It just came up, and it's like that idea of you need to leave your parents' home, your family home. You need to leave all that is familiar for you to fulfill your mission. Okay, so that's that wake-up call as well. So we see it all over. I'm sure in other religions and traditions, you'll have that same story. Okay, so there is an opportunity for a fresh start. Usually it would close down doors, so you can only look. Remember, it's about like this tunnel vision as well. 11/11, I think about how it's shaped, right? It's this tunnel vision. Everything else is closed. So when you no longer have a back door, an exit plan, a plan B, you have to go straight. You have to go straight, okay, to this path, which is only yours. So again, the 11/11, think about this, right? First we went like this and the connection, but now this 11/11, this is your, we talked about it as like train tracks, right? It could be if the train is leaving, everybody has their own train tracks, their own very specific path. And you might go around with other people. So there will be other trains next to you, those other train tracks. You might be near each other, but no one is going to go on your tracks. That's why also for spiritual awakening and coaching or assisting or healing, it's not about, hey, just follow my track, just do what I did. No, that's not it. And that's why I'm going to share here what I did. I'm going to ask you to share if you have these experiences. And still, these are only examples and they're not to be followed specifically. So also here, I'm not going to tell you step by step what you need to do or what's going to happen. That's for you. That's your track. I'm going to talk about what are signs and symbols and how to, first of all, also understand and know that this is the actual call from spirit. Because there's different crises and things that happen, but there's a very specific chain of events that happens when this is the call, okay? And yeah, lastly, the 11/11 or any kind of numbers is just saying, by the way, you're not alone. You are being watched and guided. Right? You're never alone. We're here with you. We're watching you. We're rooting for you. We're here to help you. If you even prayed or asked silently for some help, notice if there's answers around saying, hey, we're here. Hey. Yeah, because also this is signs from your own guides, your spiritual guides or ancestors, if those are your guides. And yet they're here to help. You first need to ask for assistance, and then you need to see, get that there's always this echo feeling. See that they're here, and then still you then need to work with them and tell them what you need. Okay, they always need permission because we have free will and free choice. And they can yell as loud as we want, if they want. But if we're not ready to listen, we just won't. So there has to be this like tag game of like, do you hear me? Okay, yes, I hear you. It's this exchange with spirit that happens. And this is an invitation for an exchange when you're noticing these numbers, these symbols. Make sense? I will say we have time for Q&A at the end of this. But still, if there's a burning question or something that you cannot you cannot move on without asking, you can. Okay. But you'll have time for questions as well. Okay. All right. So I wanted to share my awakening story, and it will be interesting to see how you can relate, and that you can even like say in the comments. I would love to hear or get comments in the chat. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop the share for a second so I can see you all as I do this. All right. So my awakening story, first of all, it happens in stages, and an awakening story can be super fast. Okay, 0 to 100. But it can also, and usually it's with steps. Again, because there's like this, are you ready for this? Okay, yes. There's the initial call. There's this tag game happening. So for me, the first thing that happened started with a realization that I am not where I'm supposed to be. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was working corporate um, in New York City, rising up the ranks, finishing a master's degree, married, supposedly the cookie cutter life. I'm doing everything correctly, and I am miserable. I am miserable and I don't know why. And I look at myself in the mirror and I do not recognize the person in the mirror. I have zero love for the person in the mirror. I am so mad at that person. It's like, where are you? That was the first thing. Later on, I started moving jobs. I decided I'm going to get divorced. I started moving houses and separating myself from my family and all advice that I would get, because all advice that I would get sounded like the same old cookie cutter that I could not stomach anymore. All of a sudden, it was no longer an option, none of it. And all I could do is go within. And I was just studying at home. I wouldn't go out. All of a sudden, I also had this feeling that I had to eat right, like not eating meat all of a sudden, or no processed foods, exercising, but very specific exercises that started showing up. Like I have to do Kundalini yoga, which I didn't even know what it was. Really, like things were just coming in, but I was so blank at this moment, saying, because I was able to, and not everybody's able to do this, but because I was able, plus life did a number on me, that like everything was all of a sudden blank. I also got fired from whistle blowing at the job. Like everything was blank. And I also knew I'm not going back. So I was able to really listen somehow. It wasn't speaking fully yet, but I was just getting this hunches and following them because there's nothing else to follow. So I would say it's easier to follow hunches there. But I think for me, it could have happened sooner, right? So it's just like only when there was quiet, only when there was nothing around, I could finally follow those hunches. I do think that if you're able to not like completely separate yourself from life and still follow those hunches, that's also great. So that's just my story. Um, so with these hunches, I also realized I have to travel, and I went on an adventure with a girlfriend of mine to Colombia. And when I went there was this crazy thing where, and I shared this, I think, in my blog, where I was in a hostel in Santa Marta, Colombia. There's 22 people. Yay. Um, in Santa Marta, Colombia, on a rooftop pool. And I'm sitting in this pool hearing about this tribe that lives right there at the Sierra Nevada, in Santa Marta, Colombia, who people go there for 4 days walking, and then they do this a coca leaf ceremony. I didn't know what they was just saying, these leaves. I didn't understand, but I could feel this vibration, and all I knew is I want to do this, but I couldn't. I had a ticket. I had this thing. I didn't have time. I just started figuring out I can't do this. And all I want to do is do this. And why can't I do this? Why can't I just go up the mountain and meet these people? Why is it so hard? I was giving myself such a hard time. And it made me realize how I'm not doing what I want to do in my life. Why is it so hard? And I'm sitting here in a pool in a hostel, and it's beautiful. And all of a sudden I see this double rainbow that just comes out of nowhere. I can't remember if it was really raining. There was this double rainbow, and I was just realized there's no going back. I know this is going to take time, but I will make sure that I will be able, out of self-love. That was the first act of self-love. Wow, Hila, you really want to do this. You want to travel and meet this tribe and do these things. Right now, you can't, but I will do everything in my power to make sure that as soon as you can, you will do this. I don't know how. I don't know what money. There was none of that. And I just decided I'll do it. I came back home. I told my parents I'm leaving everything. I started studying energy medicine after I did an MDMA trip, where all of a sudden I realized I have this green energy in my hands, and started researching that and found energy medicine. And then I wanted to join what I'm teaching now, the Four Wind Society, the school for energy work. And I had no money. I mean, it was $14,000. I had none of it. I just got fired. Like, it's done. I'm on unemployment. And I'm saying again, so again, these what I want you to remember are these pacts with spirits, because they come, they're there, they're listening. And I said, right, first is like, don't worry, back in Colombia, you're gonna get there, it's gonna be fine. The second was, okay, I want to do this course. I want to go to the school, and it's a lot of money. If somehow this money shows up, I will go to the school. And I had to apply first. So I'm applying, and then they came back. It's like, okay, you're in. This is amazing, and you even get a scholarship. I'm like, oh my God, so I can go now. And they tell me the scholarship, and it's nothing. It's like $2,000. It's not enough. Great, now it's $12,000 that I don't have. Okay, Spirit, I guess I'm not going. And then I kid you not, this happened an hour later. I get a call from American Express, and they tell me, congratulations, we've just raised your credit to $14,000. It's like, okay. Okay. I think I'm going. I think this is a sign. And yes, this is still a lot on a credit card, but I have it now. I have it now. I'm going to figure it out. And that was the next pact I made. Okay, Spirit, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put this on this credit card. And I remember saying this, I just said they better pay me back. Every cent I paid for this. They better pay me back. I'm going to get the money back. Okay. So I go and I study, and it's great, and I love it. And I finish the course. This is in Joshua Tree, California. So Then stuff happens. I finish the course. In the course, apparently, the manager of the Four Winds Society was there with me. She was kind of incognito, and she became a really good friend of mine. I didn't know she was managing the Four Winds. At the end of this, she reaches out and said, I love your energy, and I would love for you to work for us. Other than that, I also got an invitation somehow from Alberto, who is the teacher, the founder of Four Winds, who I thought didn't even know my name, who invited me to join him in Peru to be an assistant. So there you go. Anyway, again, it's a very long story, and I'm gonna make it short and to the point. My point is that whenever you clear everything and focus on the self-love and that soul's wish, that's why what you did here with the meditation, what do you want? What is your question, right? What is the answer? What is that flavor? What do you need? What do you want? What do you want to know? When you can really listen to it and then say, okay, I don't know how. It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to know how. That's the beauty of saying yes to this call. When you say yes to spirit, it answers. When you're committed to spirit 100%, it is committed to you back 100%. Other things that happened through this journey, this was like years then of like also studying and working with Alberto, and then being basically his right-hand woman in Chile for a while, and in other places around the world. But still, like, there was not much money there. Whenever I was thinking, okay, it's done, like I have to go back to real life and I have to let this go, a check will come in. I kid you not. I got checks out of nowhere, 8,000, another 5,000, like weird checks. Unfortunately, this stuff does not happen now. This is the beauty of the beginning of the journey when you commit, because this stakes are all stacked against you in a way. And so when you say yes, it's like the path starts getting clearer and clearer, and these synchronicities and this beautiful magic starts appearing in your life. So I'm here to share this, so to say it's worth it and commit to it. Also, in later parts, like we're in the integration part, so we're going to talk about, it's not necessarily like that. But in the beginning, if you're able to hear the call and then answer it and say yes 100%, prepare to be amazed at what life will offer you. And it's a lot about really jumping in straight on, and not accepting whatever was before, not accepting the stories, the old stories, because the real idea of the 1111 spiritual awakening of all of us is about creating something new, is proving, right? My story is proving it. Hopefully all of your stories will prove that Something else is possible. We don't need to just repeat the same cycles all over again. So it's not about this repetition and a cycle and a karmic wheel that just keeps going round and round. The change here is a spiral that starts going upwards. And we are all in charge of bringing up that vibration and bringing it upwards. And we don't know how it is in these upper levels. And it's different. Rules are different. Okay, the rules of the universe are different there, and anything is possible. Sounds like insanity maybe for some, but you just have to try it out. Okay, so I'm going to continue. All right. So that's my journey. Okay, so this is probably the most important thing that I want you to remember from this class today. This is a teaching that comes straight from Carl Jung's teachings of the hero's journey. And this has to do with how do you work with answering that call of your soul and creating that healthy vessel that also trusts the universe to go on your mission, on this life's mission. Okay, so there are four, like I said, not every call is that call. Okay, so how do you know this is the call? This is the right thing and I can make that move. That's why it's so important. There are four different signs that you can use here. Okay, so the first one is, so I call it running away versus running towards. Okay, so the first sign is this feeling of, I have to do this. This makes no sense. I am actually going to leave something that's more secure. And by the way, more secure doesn't mean it's good. I say it's kind of like, it's leaving your comfort zone, but the comfort zone it's not necessarily that comfy. For example, quicksand or this like muddy waters, this swamp, when you're in it, can feel really comfy. You know what I mean? It's just like in it already and splashing around and it's comfy, okay? And yet you need to wake up, realize, oh my God, I've been sitting in this swamp. I got to get out of here, okay? So that's what I mean about also running towards, okay? It's realizing, whoa, like I just cannot do this anymore. And the doing this is actually should be easy. So the first thing is really realizing, wow, this call is making me like shoot all the way across my comfort zone. And it's an unknown area. We're going to talk about that in the other signs. And I'm still going to do it. So it's about this bravery, right? And that's what I wrote here. This, like, I guess, like realizing that you're brave. You're not running away from something. You're not making it easy on yourself. This is bravery, okay? To show up and hear the call and go for it no matter what. That's a sign. You're not running away from anything. You're running towards that soul mission. Number two is, so the great mystery is deeply known. Okay. The other thing is that this thing that is, although it's kind of unknown, but burning in you, and this, and I guess in that time also things will happen to you. For example, even I think that pool or the rainbow, I had a feeling that I was there before, that like I've been waiting for this my whole life. It's like all of a sudden sitting in that pool, seeing that double rainbow is like, whoa, this is it. Like that's what I guess I dreamt it, but I did it, right? So it's that feeling of a déjà vu effect. Or, when you're like, you see someone for the first time, you don't know them, but you do know them. It's like that. It's not someone. It's this thing that you're about to do. It's you. All of a sudden, there's a déjà vu feeling about yourself because you're being reintroduced or remembering what you've forgotten. And the steps that you've already signed that you will do. This is something that's all been orchestrated. Whoever's waking up now in this period or in this lifetime is something that you agreed on. Is something that you planned very carefully. Also, I will say that it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in a specific time because you're actually giving yourself all these different options of when you could wake up potentially, okay? So there's all these different scenarios, but they've all been planned. And all you need to do is hit one of them and say yes to one of them. And it feels like this, whoa, I don't, this is all new to me, and yet is the most familiar thing I've felt in a very long time. Make sense? Okay. The third sign that this is the call to answer, hopefully. So I call it, it is done, it is done, it is done. So this is the part that I said I had this very obviously because the whole world outside of me was shutting down. Like, for example, the job that I was in, that it was a whistleblower. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it now. But you know, they kicked me out. They're like, I try to help and actually help some people not lose their homes, actually. And instead, I got kicked. I got kicked out and completely blocked, right? So it was done. I would say connections or the marriage, for example, that it was just done. Okay, so things could just be done around you, but that doesn't still mean that this is the call. So the doneness is also within, right? So it's this, like I said, like in the mirror or like being somewhere, even like being in a bar, walking around, the same thing you've done all the time. Like I remember there was one part of me like walking to work in New York and seeing this like sea of black. If you like go off of the subway or the train, right? And the sea of black people, and I would see it like, wow, they're all sheep, all wearing black. And I'm one of them. I'm done. Like, you know, this realization, I'm done. I can't. Like seeing things that you've been seeing every day, but all of a sudden you cannot do it anymore. Or I cannot drink another whiskey anymore. That also, like the body can say it's done, right? I said, like, also the physical body is preparing itself to be a stronger vessel because more light is coming through. So even that, like you can be just done all of a sudden with just lifestyle and like addictions or anything like that. You just, I'm done. Remember, I also had something with like cigarettes back then. I was still kind of smoking, and all of a sudden, I'm done. Not today. I'm done. I can't anymore. It's done. Okay. So these endings that you feel inside and then also seeing it reflected outside is another sure sign that the call is here. And lastly, the last sign that I've shared here is this is also connected to like leaving everything that's familiar or your comfort zone, but this is on a greater scale. This is society at large, right? Because what we said is like it could be like a lot of trains, but it's your specific track. So it's really guiding you into your own unique path. So for that, you cannot be influenced by all the other paths or what society say it's the path. So there's this feeling and this deep understanding that all of a sudden society and like being social and meeting other people of like the same old is also done. It's out. And actually what you're craving more than anything is an unknown path. And that's insane, right? It's like all I want is something that I don't know what it is, but when I see it, I'm gonna go for it and I still don't know it. Okay, it's this like step. I'm hearing this in my ear even. It's like I like to use the Michael Jackson like do do right. There's like so there you have these like lighting, right? He puts his feet and there's a light and each step. So it's like it's all dark, but you just know like, oh, this is my path. This is my path. It's unknown and then it's known. You don't need to see more than that and it clicks and it feels right. Just keep following the signs. Just keep going and it's going away. It's going away from society into the wild, into yourself, into like a cave mode even if it's not just a cave and going within. So that's also a feeling that you're going to get when the call is there. Make sense? Okay. So now this, I'm going to put a little bit of a thing here. We can't go fully into it, but this is how do I answer the call, or more like, how do I make this dialogue with spirit, with my soul, when I'm like so untrained, like I forgot how to speak to spirit. We do this as children all the time, but we forget. So in my course, the Know Thy Soul that I'm gonna start at the end of this month, we're gonna really have more exercises on how to connect with intuition and connect with the soul. So here I'm just like dropping it in, okay? Sorry that it's not all there. But basically, the idea is this you need to be able to quiet all the voices around, to be able to hear that soft whisper. It's a soft whisper of spirit. That soft whisper is never against you, is always is always like your number one cheerleader. Okay. So it's also like quieting the mind to the point where you're no longer hearing that judge. If we have that judge or the criticizer, that's not what I mean. Like we can hear that loud and clear. And by the way, they don't really whisper. They're kind of yelling at us from within, right? So I'm talking about this soft whisper, kind of saying, trust it, right? Trust the journey. Yes, you can do it. Oh my God, it could be so beautiful. So you can hear it when you quiet your mind. And another way to do it is like go to nature and connect to that, connect to the vibration of Mother Earth, which is also rising in its vibration. Then you have to trust that intuition. So like again, the trust means like you have to understand that this is your intuition, this is your soul speaking, this is not just the judge or different parts of you, okay? And then trust it. So we're going to learn also in the course, like how do you trust? How do you quiet the mind? Yeah, so just plopping it in again. And finally, as you quiet the mind, you hear the call, you trust that intuition, start having a dialogue to understand what is that next lighted step. Then you take inspired action. I love that word, inspired action, right? In it is spirit. So you take an action with spirit. So even that, I can even imagine as if like I'm giving a hand to this soul of mine, this beautiful soul that is ready to show up in this reality. And I'm making sure that we're taking action together, right? So you're taking action together, inspired action, which means it's gonna probably be weird. Like, for example, just, pay for this course and just go across the country to study it. That is an inspired action, right? So you get me. So then you go. So you don't just listen and talk and say, I'll do it tomorrow. The main thing is that you actually follow through. That is actually answering the call, is that you follow through. So here again, just plopping it in. And this is actually more, I think I might talk about it in Know Thy Soul, but and I have some students here. This is connected to my medicine carriers course about like the 7 initiations and just basically what happens in soul initiations. So this is basically even beyond the 11:11 wake up call, right? So here we are, like the number one here is initial awakening, right? And that's really what we're talking about here. Okay. I just wanted to show you, hey, by the way, and I said this, right? Like I said that, at first it's all going to be miracles and synchronicities because you said yes, and the universe is just cheering you on because that first step, although first step is easy. I think the first step is the hardest, and so you get the most help, and it's beautiful. But then, then we have our work cut out for ourselves. So the next step of that is actually the dark night of the soul, which I'm sure some of you here have heard about and have experienced it maybe. This is something that's talked a lot in the circles of awakening and consciousness. It's deeply misunderstood, I think, which is why I love teaching it in the course. And there's a lot to be said here. But basically, it is that the honeymoon stage of you with spirit is over. Okay, so anyone that's been in like relationships and like you understand what the honeymoon stage is over. And now it's time to bring up all the crap, okay? All the stuff that is blocking you from continuing, from taking the next inspired action. Okay, and it's just gonna flood all over. And sometimes we feel like we're drowning here. This is a place to ask for support. This is the right place to ask for support from guides, spirit, but also just people around you. This is one of the hardest steps. So that's the dark night of the soul. After you're able to cross, because the dark night of the soul also, so first initial awakening, right? I want you to like picture this, for example, where you're awakening to spirit, your spirit and body, and you're going to do your mission and it's all great. But basically you haven't really crossed the gate, the threshold yet. You just said yes and you're moving towards it. The dark night of the soul is actually when you're inside of that portal. You're inside of that gate. You're inside of that tunnel. You're moving from one way into a completely other way. It is the birth canal. So that's why it's called the dark night of the soul. It is dark. You're going through this canal. What's up is down. You cannot orient yourself. You just have to follow, like if you work with tarot or whatever, it's that hermit that's walking around with that little chandelier, just like paving the light and just like trusting its own little starlight and moving along, knowing that it's always darkest before the dawn, right? It's really, you're going through this tunnel. Your train is now in a tunnel. Okay. And we can sometimes get stuck in that tunnel, but eventually we will leave it. When we leave it, it's actually the integration of what we were. Now we have to connect it to what we're becoming. And how is that becoming? How is it integrating? First, it's how do you integrate in yourself? Okay, first is in yourself. And some people like change their names, change a whole different part. Like, how do I integrate that? Who am I now? Right? That's the integration first. But later, this is also talked about in the hero's journey. The integration is actually to call back home. The hero's journey is the circular place of like you're going out for this adventure and you're grabbing those tools, but then you're coming back. You're coming back home. You're coming back to your people. Maybe you're coming back, but actually somewhere else. Maybe now you're meeting your soul family, you know, your next community, your real community. So the coming back home doesn't actually even have to be the home you left behind. Maybe that wasn't your real home. Okay, so just saying that, but you're coming back to your real home and to your crew and to your work, to your service. So that's the next part of integration, because how do I do this? How do I bring what I know and what I've learned along the way and my tools, and how do I integrate them for myself? And then eventually, and that already moves to the next step of service to others. How do I now share? Okay, they say that like the souls, what we come here to do is really to learn how to give and receive. Okay, so here in the first part, we're receiving a lot. And then we're learning that really to receive more, we must give. Our mission is to give, but our true essence, nothing more, nothing less, is that very precise, מאוד מדויק, okay, of how you give that service to others. And actually, as you do that, as you start finding those ways and serving back humanity, you're actually going to craft your tools. You're going to sharpen them. You're going to understand them better. So that's also, it could be a long path. And then what I wrote here that's really interesting, and I'm really experiencing it right now, which is why I'm excited to start this course, is that you realize that after this is done, it just starts all over again and again. Second and third awakenings, okay? So for example, I can share even for myself, all of a sudden I'm doing great in service for others, and all of a sudden I feel like it's just not enough. All of a sudden, something else has to come, and stuff around me just doesn't make sense. I already know this. I've been through those initiations before. I understand that this is a call for an adventure. I understand that this is a call to elevate even more, because expansions never end. So these awakenings in the 111, it's not like it's a one and done. Okay, there will be more, but the idea is that you're learning also how to deal with that and to do it with more grace, and maybe with burning less bridges. Or you need to do, or the dark night of the soul can be much quicker because you already know what to do, or maybe you've already done some clearing, right? You already have more tools, but it also means that these second, third, fourth awakenings will be harder, but you can handle it. And this is more of the level of mastery. And so I think it's important to bring this up here, because I know that for those who are watching now or maybe later in the recording, I know for a fact that for some of you here, you're not just dealing with that first awakening. Okay, but this is a reminder for me working on this course. It was a big reminder. It's like, oh, that's right. I have the tools. This is what I need to do. Okay, so this is relevant also after that initial awakening. Okay, cool. So just looking at the time. All right, we're almost done here. Yeah, so what is an awakened soul? Okay, and yes, this is for sure, again, like this is actually what I'm so excited to do. This has to do with my own like second, third awakening. I feel the call to really teach and bring up the soul, and learning about the soul, and learning about the different types of souls in soul families, for example, and contracts and karma, all of that stuff. Okay, so an awakened soul is a soul that remembers that it's eternal. that remembers or understands that it has done this. It has done this path. It has gone through awakening. So that's the point of like, even that first awakening is only possible if the soul is already well skilled in awakening and moving consciousness. And I believe that now in this time of our planet, more and more souls that are waking up who are actually masters of this are rising up, because that's what the earth needs right now. Okay, so that's like remembering that, oh, I've been here. I've done this, right? It's that deja vu I talked about. Oh, I know this. I've been planning this. Wow, cool. All right, so that's one part. These souls learn, we are more skilled at understanding that we are not the ego, that the ego is here to protect, but also it's here to be tamed and worked with. The ego, I see it also as like the mind. Okay, so again, like realizing, oh, I'm not the mind. I'm actually the heart, the closest thing. I'm the heart, and I'm not even the heart. I'm that flower. I'm that spark inside of that heart. That's who I am. And it's working with the heart, and it's working with the mind. So it's working with the ego. And it also, because of that, is not afraid to shed layers of it, because the ego has that like fear of death, right? So we're like, oh no, if I let this go, or, you know, this real, like, I'm gonna die if I do this. The awakened soul knows that it's not gonna die, but something else is. It's still scary as hell, but you're not gonna die. You're an eternal, immortal soul, God spark. So that's really what the awakened soul is about. And they can start also realizing and remembering the gifts that they already have to share here on this planet. And it's very different from one to the other. So increased intuition, you will have intuition and empathy, I believe, and that sense of purpose, that's overall. But like the gifts of like, if it's like healing hands or touch, right? Or like if it's singing, or if it's supporting people through trauma, or, you know, like all those very specific skills, or like premonitions, visions, a beautiful artist, okay? All that really depends on what you're here to do. I also brought up that there are star seeds. So these are souls that remember, that are actually not so familiar with earth life. So the awakened soul also knows that it's not just earthbound. We are everywhere. We lived in every places of this galaxy and universe. And we are actually souls that are coming maybe home. And that happens, I think, those who like look at the sky and actually kind of miss home, or like, oh, just come and take me, or have this interesting connection with aliens or whatever. I would say these are more star seeds, indigo, crystal, rainbow children. That's how they're called. Okay, these are advanced souls that haven't been on this earth for a very long time, because this the frequency here has been low. It's rising. We're helping it rise as well. So they're coming from different places that, for example, don't have hunger and hate and crime and war. So a lot of times, like souls like that, children like that, will be like looking around saying, I don't get this. This is not fair. Why are people treating, like, they're just not getting it. It's not every child that's like this. So just, again, just like planting that in. And of course, I'm going to talk more about this in Know Thy Soul. So yeah, this is a little preview of some things that we will learn in the Know Thy Soul course. Okay, and I will share the link if you're looking to register. I have a discount for anyone here. So I hope you join me. This is going to be fun. So this is like my little, hopefully you would like to join. And finally, the message that I want to end here with, and I've been also saying this throughout, why now? And, you know, awakenings have been happening on this earth at least forever. Or, you know, we could say Abraham was an awakened soul. You can say Jesus is one, Buddha, Dalai Lama. There's all these, or we call the masters. There's many examples of awakened beings walking on this earth in our history. But why now? Why is it different? And why this is that ego encounter and humanity at large is awakening? I believe it's because Gaia, Mother Earth, is awakening, meaning it is a being of itself, like everything. That's what we did at the beginning, where we're like, oh, you know, the cup can be a being, the water, definitely, the crystal, right? The earth is a living, beating, it has a rhythm, right? The Schumann resonant, it has a rhythm, it has a heart, right? We connected to it at the beginning. It is a being, and we are part of this being. That's why it's called Mother Earth. In a way, it is our mother. She gave us through her elements, which also love to teach the elements. We are built from her elements. We are her as well. And so we are called to be in this physical form and awaken so we can help steer this great awakening of Mother Earth. And so we can do it in a way where we're still here because she's going to wake up anyway. I saw it's like in a way like humanity can be like fleas. We forgot that she's our mother. We forgot to give back. We forgot that we are the stewards of this land. So I do believe that this awakening journey and this coming back to service, what I've been seeing is that throughout, it always goes back to not just like, oh, it's a very specific service to this community. It always goes back to a service for humanity. And it has to do with just helping others wake up to the fact that we are the earth as well as the sky, right? Mother, Father, God is the earth and sky, and we are that bridge in between, and we have a responsibility, okay? So it's waking up to that responsibility. And every awakened being can do so much just by sharing its love to the earth and for its beings. Okay, it can decide, it understands sustainability because it's this give and take, like, oh wow, we live in this beautiful planet. It actually is abundant. And if you look at nature, for example, you understand there's never shortage. It works, right? It recycles, it always works together. There's always more unless we decide to steal from it, unless we decide to harm it and not fix it. So that sustainability is a mission, is something that I'm seeing overall right now. And I do think that we're all like on this mission together to help Earth, but really help humanity stay around and like prove that we are stewards of this earth. We are earth keepers. We can help. We need to stay because this is heaven. Heaven on earth. This is heaven. We need to remember that. That's also something I wanted to remind you all of. So we're all in this together. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this class. I would love to open up for any questions you have, and also, or maybe you want to share a little bit about your journey. If you have an example or if you can relate to some of the things that I've said, that would be great. I'm going to see who's the brave one that's ready to ask or share first. And we're also, we'll be done officially in about 5 minutes. And I would say that, it's, if anyone needs to leave, they can. I'm going to be here to answer and hear everything. But you definitely, if you need to go, you can do it. So Ashley asked me to first share the connection of the crack to 1111. Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I've been using the crack a lot. Not pun intended. Okay, so so yeah, the crack. Thank you, Ashley. I think I kind of see the crack in 1111, right? That's the beauty of it. It's this like breaking of the status quo of like business as usual. That's that crack, or like something happens. It can also happen as like we call it like a tower moment, like just like things start falling apart all around us. And this crack is making us, oh, look within. Like instead of looking at everything that's falling apart outside, all of a sudden you're like, all you have to do is go in. So this crack I'm talking about in the heart space is an opportunity, a portal, right? That's the portal, the window to go within and say, who's in there? Whoa. Right? That's the crack. And that's exactly the call is like, can you understand? Can you see that there's a crack? Can you feel it? Or do I need to make it wider and wider? So this crack could become a crater eventually. But it starts with a crack, or it starts with a little breakage. Eventually, if there's just a little crack, it will fall apart at the end. So the key, I think the real key here also for me is I love helping people on this path is to help identify the crack before it becomes that crater, before it becomes this tower moment. That's one, because you could really see it. But let's say you don't, and that's fine, and you need the whole tower moment also, that's fine. there's still help, and I love to help there as well. But yeah, thank you for that question. That's the crack I was talking about, the wake-up call. Thanks, Ashley.
I'll share.
Okay. Ashley wants to share.
I'll just share that I really enjoy the meditation and this experience of kind of traveling through the cracks of the earth. And I just really felt like that full connection and that full remembrance and the lines of the up and down and the front to back. And then emerging as a flower at the end there, and then the mastery being a question mark. Like the flower came to me like, oh, this is our mission of personal mastery. And like our personal mastery is us carrying a question in our heart and like searching and walking through this earth, through this like cosmic dimension of the physical plane with our questions in our heart. And when we do that, yeah, it's like guiding us. So I think for me, because I've been through kind of a lot of spiritual awakenings, that kind of like really coming back or coming forward with my next big question, is what I'm really taking away from today. So thank you so much. It was really, really beautiful meditation.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm really glad to hear that you're walking out with that. What's your next level of mastery and that big question? And like, I'm sure it's not obvious as well. I love how it can surprise you. Thank you, Ashley. Oh, is there anyone else that would like to comment or ask a question?
Something in the chat.
I did see Nathan writing something, said he enjoyed the main meditation, and then his sister called. Okay. Okay, thank you, Nathan. Yeah, Elle said she doesn't mind. Great, please share.
Am I muted? No? Okay. So when you put the 4 stages up, and there was the bit about the hero's journey. So I feel like I had an awakening already, and I felt stuck for a little while. And before you messaged me, I've had this feeling of what's next. Like I don't know what's next, but I feel like there's something more, and just a feeling of like stuckness spiritually, not in my life. Just I don't know where I'm going next. And then I kept on seeing all the numbers everywhere, and I would Google always like, what does this mean? I keep seeing 7 7, or today I saw 3 3. What does that mean? Like I could see the synchronicities coming through, but I didn't know what it was. And then every time I look at my phone, it's always 11 11 in the morning. Like I would always screenshot that, like as a yeah, hi Nathan, a fellow Brit. Yes. I would always screenshot whenever it's 11 11, just as like a sign, like hi to whoever said hi to me, but I didn't know what it meant. And then you sent me the link. So I was like, okay, so this is the next step. But it's kind of like, I feel like I'm a little bit stuck. I don't know where I'm going next. So I'm just going where the light is showing me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Alan. I'm sure you're not the only one that's feeling it. So thank you for bringing it up. I think here, so from the teaching that I shared with you, the main thing, if you're not sure, then this is that part first of quieting the mind and understanding and listening to that intuition. That's why I plopped it in, and I didn't share so much because really that's a whole other class or more, right? So I'm sorry that part I didn't give as many tools now. But I will say that maybe one thing is to also look at what is still buzzing that's not allowing you to hear better, like the call or like understand the signs, like what is still in the way, like what is there any kind of noise, any distraction, right? Looking at what distractions are still around and seeing, and I would also remind you of, like, in my story, I was saying like this cute little dialogue with spirit. So for example, it seems like now you can be pissed off. You can say, you know, like, I heard it. Okay, I get it. I need to do something, but I don't know what. What's the next step? And you can ask. So first you need to ask for it. Just straight up ask. You better give me that next step. And
So I did. I
yeah,
did, and this came. So I'm like, okay, so obviously this is the next step.
yeah. So then my question for you is, what did you get in the meditation, for example?
So I got like this image of like a white and blue hydrangea. Like there's like cracks of blue and the center is white. And I wrote some stuff down. So you said, what is your sole purpose? And then I just got like unity and bringing people together. And that is something that I've kind of been doing subconsciously. Like whenever there's typically in my family, whenever there's like two people that are not agreeing or not seeing eye to eye, I'll like go to one person, I'll be like, look, you've got to see it from their perspective. And then I'll go to the other and I'll say, you've got to see it from their perspective. And then I'll each one I'll play the other side and then they'll kind of come together. Like it's kind of like a peacemaker. So that's like the subconscious role that I've been playing.
Right.
So maybe it's something with that.
Exactly. And then I do think like the call at the beginning, obviously it's like the hero's journey. So if you follow that idea, that logic, is to go out on an adventure that is unknown. So first of all, what is this adventure? So really maybe even refining the question. Okay, so if it's peacemaker, right, or unity, where do I get those tools? Right? Or where do I need to go? Because there's still a going out. Okay, there's not staying in that comfort zone. So you're asking, what is the next inspired action that will lead me more into my track, right? So it's it's really finding out again, like, what is that step outside of the comfort zone, asking. And then again, like, it sounds like you asked and then you received this class, right? So okay, and now there's this class. So now maybe what I'm saying to you is like, you're going to tweak your question a little bit, right? Now understanding, okay, obviously I need to go on a journey. What is this journey about? What is the next step of this journey? What is a tool, or at least the idea of the tool that I'm looking to, reclaim? It's a tool that you reclaim, but even that, if I talk about awakened souls, I do think that we all carry these tools within us, but I do think that, like, with teachers, specific teachers that are around, they're here to remind you of that and like reinstate that or initiate you into that tool in this life again. So there are like these collecting of tools that you might have not collected yet. Okay, so it's, I don't know, a peacemaker. It could be a lot of things, right? And really follow the heart, follow that crock in the heart, and what does it get excited about? And even if it's not logical. So that's my advice. But yeah, it's a bigger subject, and there were different ways of doing it. And yeah, maybe even studying, studying more and finding the right place for it. Thank you, David. I'm seeing people leaving. Makes sense. We're already out of time here. I will see if anyone that stayed wants to share or ask anything else before we end.
I'm considering asking. Hi,
Hi, good to see you.
you too. I'm trying to figure out what my question is though, like a very like to be specific. But um just like within the process that you were talking about, I feel like I've had moments in my life, many moments, where I had to be really brave. But I had to ask for, I feel like there are many times in my life where I asked for a lot of help for certain steps. And I was kind of pushed in the other direction, in the direction towards the dark or whatever. Like, and I'm wondering if I have a hard time with like the call for action, or if it wasn't like, this might be a very specific question. I'm not sure, but like, I don't, maybe you have something to say about it. Did I finish my question?
I'm not sure. Can you
Um,
reframe?
sure. Um, I'm trying to understand with myself, like when it comes to like call for action, I always, I feel that that's where I get stuck. Um, However, I also think that we need help. And when asking for help, you like different smatim in my life. Um, I've been more like pushed into the like not that like into the go back, go darker, go deep, like go into like into like the darker places and out. So I'm asking myself, did I just
Yeah.
miss my call for action? Or is it not there yet? Or have I actually done stuff and I have no idea that I've done stuff?
So it's not I'm just going to rephrase it and maybe that would help. It's not a call to action as much as it's a call to go on that journey. So it's a call to an adventure that is a very unique adventure to you. Okay, so it's not what am I supposed to do now as much as like where am I supposed to be now? Where do I need to go now? Where do I need to be now? Where's my being? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, because the stuckness, I think even that, like I'm stuck is like, okay, so that's not, I'm stuck and I need to move. So I'm saying maybe it's not about movement at all, right? Maybe it's not about action. It's about being. It's a bit different. You see, because that journey, and especially I know you. So, and I feel that this is not the first time. Yeah. And like, it's you, if you've already know the steps, you can, this is more of a journey within maybe, or like being means like being in a certain vibration that you're being asked to. And then what do I need to do to be in that vibration? What do I need to move out of to be in that vibration? Being. Yeah. Not in a physical even space and no action. So it's more feminine, right? Like I also teach that. So like being like, it's a more feminine energy of like being rather than doing. The doing already knows what it's going to do. So if you don't even know that, it's really more stepping back. Yeah.
Okay.
If it
Um,
helps.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Tom.
oh,
Yeah.
hi. Do I have time to ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm here.
oh, great. So I think the part about your today that really struck me was about this kind of feeling of you know when you know kind of feeling that you know when to take the leap of faith. So I would say in my life I've very much lived that way, and it has amazing ups, but then it also like has crashes as well. And right now I would say I'm kind of coming out of a crash. I'm really trying to build my life up again. And I feel like in my heart, I know that I should do. I bet I'm a photographer. I should be just sailing up here and seeing what happens. But realistically, right now, I just know in order to kind of make that magic happen, I just need that one thing stable to kind of give me the access to then still take those leaps of faith, if you know what I mean. So I went to New York a few weeks ago, kind of a bit of a leap of faith trip around my photography and my art. And then magical things did emerge from that. Kind of like the magic was kind of flowing on that trip for sure. I've come back and then obviously everything's like back to reality again. I like I have my own place to live and all that kind of stuff. So like where do you find where's that balance between taking a leaps of faith but also recognizing I actually need this kind of more traditional thing to be able to enable me to take those leaps of faith, or is it just one giant leap of faith? And like where's the line kind of having a sense about it, if that makes sense?
Okay, thank you for that question. I don't know you. I'm glad to meet you.
Okay.
Because of that, I pick up a lot of things. So I will say I'm already picking up that sounds like this is not your first rodeo. And because of that, you're being asked each time, do you want these crashes, for example? Can it be without those crashes? Right? Because it's supposed to be enjoyable. So what I would ask for is actually like, why do I need that crash? Like what limiting belief that used to work? Because maybe those crashes were also the signs that you would need, right? To then move. So like, do I still need that? Is it really necessary? Because it sounds like it's taking so much energy out of you. And what we learn, and that's actually in like my MCT, like the 7 initiations, medicine carrier, is that we start learning how to be very conservative with our energy. not wasting a drop that's not needed. And but that's in later steps in the initiation, and that's where I think you are. So it's a bigger question, and I would love to answer it more privately also if you want to talk, but I would even now, like to help, I would say, okay, can I dig in and say, like, what is it, how is this helping me? These crashes, they don't have to happen all the time. I know, for example, I've been working with this where, like, I know that when I freak out, all of us, like, things just happen to me, by the way, with like services, like service to humanity. Like I just got out of learning and people started coming and I knew, okay, that's spirit, just like bringing people to me. And so what I've also learned is like when it stops, it means that it's time to change or to do something. And what comes out of it is usually another leap and a course and like, you know what, I really need to bring this out there. And it's only when it all stops, but it's kind of gut wrenching. And like, as you have families and stuff, it's too much. And I've been working with that of like, oh, I realized that I just got comfortable with that sign. This is now my comfort zone. You know what I mean? I know this, I know what to do here, but it's taking so much energy and I'm done, right? I'm done with that as well. And that's what I talk about in the second and third and fourth initiations of awakening. That's what starts happening. So it's like mastering that, tweaking it even more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. Any other questions or comments before we say bye? Okay, so for those who've stayed, thank you. We will close Sacred Space together. Hi, Esther. Do you want to say something or just jump to say hi? Okay, hi, good to see you. Okay, so we're just gonna pick up this beautiful blanket, okay, from the stars, the eighth chakra, and we're gonna bring it all the way back up. And you make this 11, right, with your hands. That's the 1111. It's that channel. And I want you to close your eyes and imagine the color, okay, of this flower, right, the plant, the color that you got wrapping all around, okay, the sides of this chain, this channel. This is your specific channel and you own it. And you take a deep inhale, bringing more of that light and energy in. And as you exhale, I want you to take your hands and like drape your unique essence all around and send it to us. Send it to anyone that wants. Share, there's plenty, because once you start giving from your essence, it just starts flowing more into you. And with that, we're closing that sacred space for today for learning, but we're keeping this flow open because this is a portal that opens. This is not about closing it. And actually, I would invite you to keep it open as long as you can, and specifically tonight, and notice your dreams and where you're able to reach with this open channel. Thank you so much for lending your beautiful souls to this class. I love you all, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye. Happy 11/11.
Thank